The summer of 1984 was supposed to be hot, sticky, and full of bad synth music and neon lights. For the town of Millersville, Ohio, it was all that, and then some. Tina Harper, 16, had spent the afternoon at the roller rink with her friends, hair teased high and neon scrunchies bouncing. The local radio blared "Jump" over and over, and the smell of corn dogs and buttered popcorn hung in the air. Life was loud, stupid, and perfect. Then the news broke over the airwaves. Not the usual town council drama or minor thefts, something else, something horrifying. Reports coming in from the neighboring county. Authorities warn residents, stay inside. Unknown viral outbreak. Symptoms include aggressive behavior and abnormal decay. Tina froze mid-spin, roller skate hitting the wooden floor. The announcer's voice faltered. Do not engage the infected. Repeat, do not engage. Static drowned the signal. Her friends laughed nervously. It's probably just some prank, Tina, like some dumb sci-fi thing, right? But when she looked out the rink's neon-lit window, the familiar streets of Millersville didn't look right. Smoke curled from a gas station across town. The Thompson kids, next-door neighbors, ran past, faces pale, screams choked off in strange gurgles. One tripped, arms flailing. By the time his parents reached him, he was on all fours, teeth bared, eyes dead and glossy. That was the moment Tina realized. This wasn't a movie. It wasn't a joke. By evening, the town was chaos. Police barricades were useless against the infected, fast, relentless, utterly unaware of their own bodies decaying. The survivors barricaded themselves wherever they could. Diners, grocery stores, Tina's high school gym. The smell of bleach and fear hung thick. Tina's group wasn't large. Her best friend Mark, his older sister Denise, and a few kids from school who happened to be in the roller rink that night. They armed themselves with whatever they could find. Baseball bats, tire irons, a single hunting rifle that Mark's dad had stashed. "What's happening?" Denise whispered as they huddled in the diner, chewing on stale candy from the counter. I don't know," Tina admitted, scanning the streets through the grimy glass. "It's like they're everywhere, and they don't stop." The night stretched on. Shadows moved outside. Sometimes the dead would pound on walls. Sometimes they'd silently linger, staring with that empty, glinting gaze. It was worse than any horror movie she'd ever seen. Because these weren't actors. These weren't makeup and prosthetics. By morning, Millersville was silent. Roads were littered with abandoned cars, the radio still crackling with emergency broadcasts that ended in static. The streets were empty, but alive in a wrong way. The groans of the dead echoed from alleyways, from behind the burnt-out diner, from places Tina knew she shouldn't look. "We need to leave," Mark said, gripping the rifle tighter than necessary. "We can't stay here. They're everywhere." "Where would we go?" Denise asked, her voice trembling. "The highway. It's swarming. Maybe we're stuck here." Tina swallowed. Her stomach turned, her heart thudding like the bass in a synth track. But she knew they had to try. Staying meant being eaten, or worse. By nightfall, they were moving. Through back alleys, past abandoned stores with shattered windows. They scavenged food and water, ducked beneath the neon glow of broken signs, always listening for the telltale shuffle, the wet gurgle, the whisper of death moving just behind them. They learned quickly. Zombies weren't just mindless. They were patient. They waited for mistakes. They smelled fear. They could almost feel the pulse of panic. The world outside Millersville was collapsing too. On the radio, emergency channels gave up one by one. The bigger cities, Columbus, Cincinnati, were quiet now. Not quiet in peace, but quiet in death. By the fifth night, Tina's group was exhausted. They were filthy, bleeding from scratches, terrified. Yet somehow, through the neon haze and the flicker of burning street lamps, a spark of hope remained. They were still alive, and in the 1980s, survival was raw, unfiltered. No internet, no global alert systems, no smartphones to track the dead. Only instinct, guts, and the pulsing beat of synth-pop keeping them moving through a town that had become a graveyard lit by neon and fire. Tina clenched her bat, eyes scanning the streets once more. Somewhere out there, The dead roamed, but as long as she breathed, she'd keep moving. Because the 1980s taught her one thing: you either survive or the world ends, one neon-lit block at a time.